Boo 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 doo boo 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 doo boom bam bow bow bow. The video is about to start. Oh, can you feel it now? Oh, I think you can. Let's edit. Edit. It's not episode 20. What episode is it? I don't know. Let's find out. As we look to see. We are at episode 27. Oh my gosh. There's too many episodes. What are we doing tonight? Continuing the Mimic Tower. Join us as we continue this endeavor. Building a nice tower. And we're going to save changes. And then we're going to go back and see if it is going to do any good. Let's find out. Let's find out. Am I still broadcasting even? Let's find out. Oh, it says it's live. It says an error occurred. An error has occurred. Therefore, we are going to stop broadcasting and replay this from scratch. One moment while we fix this solution. Bo, are we back? No, we're not. An error has occurred. Interesting. Very interesting. So let's find out why this is the case. Oh, third time's a charm. Did we do it correctly? Did the video start streaming? Let us find out. And by lettuce, I mean lettuce, the delicious vegetable. Something tells me that I did it correctly. But let us find out to make absolutely sure. It continues to say an error has occurred. Please try again later. Fascinating. Yes, I would like to learn more. Well, fine. I'll restart my browser. Oh, this is not very fun. It worked just fine till I decided, hey, let's change the title a little bit so it doesn't read such silly nonsense. Does it work now? Of course it doesn't. Does it work? What about now? No. What about any of these? Do any of these work? No, they all work. Yeah, they all work. But not the live stream. Very well. We will stop streaming for a second and come back again. Behold, the stream is about to start. But not yet. Not yet. Why? Because we have technical difficulties. It has been a while since we've streamed live. As a result, we have technical difficulties. I'm just trying to get it to where it works, and right now it doesn't. So we'll go back to the start. And we'll put in what we need to put in. recording. Allow comments. Video statistics, captions, licensing, all of which is so not important. It does say that my stream is not only live, but healthy. And that is something that I really admire, simply because I care about this video's integrity. And if it were to become ill, I would be distraught in the most vicious way. But yes, right now it keeps saying that the error occurred, so we do not have live broadcasting. Can't find camera. Well, it's because we don't have one. Let's go back. Instead of doing a camera, let's do the live streaming now. Once again, it is actually saying that I am back and live. Ladies and gentlemen, could it be that I have done it? Only 8 minutes later. Only 8. Nope, not a bit. After I tried, it still feels like it's... Aha! I have done it. I have done it. All this time you have been watching this wonderful splash screen thinking, will you just get on with it? I can see it just fine. Well, fine. Behold. This is something that we worked on a while ago. It is a very simple dice tower. It's something that I personally am quite, personal feelings towards. It has taken me a long time. Why? Because I built that. A colossal mountain of coins, individually modeled and uniquely made. Eventually, I'm going to have to fuse all of them together, which I doubt this computer is going to want to do. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Instead, we've got a nice little sword that we built. We've got a dice that is just for representation. I'm going to hide this bad boy because it does not like to be streaming. This is what's going to be inside the print. We're going to have basically a cone with a hole in it. And if you look up, maybe I look up from the top, you've got a cavity, little like cone shape, where realistically the die would come down this little tongue that I've made. And just rolls right on in there, goes down, and then hits a slope and comes right out where that die is. Comes right out that hole. So for right now, let's actually get the mechanics done so that it actually would theoretically work. And then what I'd like to do tonight is work on the upper half of this chest, which is the lid mostly. We've pretty much got the base done. It's got little pig feet. Alright, so from here, we basically just need these two pieces here. We can isolate this by right-clicking, go to Isolate Selected, making sure that it's selected. And basically all we're going to do is get this so that there's no gap here, so it will definitely fall in there and it won't get caught. And then from here, it will definitely roll outward, so having a nice little sloped area, I should say. So for right now, I've got this set up as a shell, which is really sweet, but I don't need it because it's going to be built with the cone. Not really sure why I did that. I worked on this a while ago, and I seems kind of pointless right there. So we're going to delete that, delete the shell. And what we're going to try to do is fuse these two together. Now this one, if I were to go to edge, select all of these at the top, deselect the side, you're using Alt, hold down Alt to deselect. I want to know how many edges there are around here. That shows me how many sides there are. It's a quick and easy way to count the number of sides of an object if you can do it this way. Right over here I've got 24 edges selected, so that means it's 24 of these segments, these sides that make up the entire shape. If I right click and go to top level, that'll deselect everything, and then I want to click the inner code this time, do the exact same thing, hit F3 so that I can actually see in between. And again, I'm just going to hold down Alt and deselect. Oh, it did not do what I wanted to do. It is only selecting. Do I have ignore backfacing? I do. Right here. Over here, this is kind of a pain in the butt a lot of times. Right here, I got this selected. It's called ignore backfacing. It will not allow you to select anything in the back. But with it turned off, now I can. So now I got everything selected. I'm going to look over here. I've got exactly 24 edges selected right here. So I've got exact number of edges both on the inner cone and the outer cone. Therefore, there is no reason why I can't select border. First of all, yeah, I can join these two pieces together and fuse the gap together. And we'll do it this way. Take the inner or the outer, it doesn't matter. I'm going to take the outer one. Make sure you have an edit poly as a modifier. That's all that matters. And from there, I'm going to go and look for the word attach. It's in the modifier panel. Once you don't even have to select any of these subdivision sub-objects. It doesn't matter. Just the main meat and potatoes edit poly. Go to attach and then just click that object you want to attach it to. And now these two pieces have married and they are never getting away from each other. Now you go in here and select the two borders. Under border here, you select that border and that border. Now, you can bridge the gap, and by doing that, there is a button here that literally is called bridge right here on the right, and that will put them together. Now, here's the interesting part. It was silly, and it wants to take these segments here and mix them, attach them to this one over here, which is absolutely preposterous. That needs to just go to the one that it's nearest. So instead of doing that, we're going to click the settings button to the right of it, right here. It's still going to do it, but now we have control, ultimate control. And these are, I believe, the two controls you need to worry about. It just rotates. And see, that does absolutely nothing, so you don't want that. And it does nothing. I like when I go live and then I try something and it doesn't work, because not that it should have worked, but because I wasn't expecting to do that. So what you can do, since it does that silly stupidity, is you can flip. And I believe this is the reason why it's the problem. So right now, if you select this one, you see how this is a really bright polygon and this is a really dark polygon? And I'm doing this in case you guys aren't following along each single episode, because we have gone over this before, but for those who are new, it means that this polygon, this square here, is facing outward this way. It is see how paper thin it is? I mean, it's paper thin. There's no thickness to them. So it's one-sided object. There is technically no inside. Even though we can see the back side of the polygon, it technically is not there. It is, think of it as a magical picture that if you go into the back side of it, theoretically it is gone, because it can only face outward. So if you're on this side, you can see it, but it disappears on the back side. Yeah, I know, it's weird how it is. But if you look at both of these,
See how they both are shiny on the outside but dark on the inside? It means that they're both facing the same direction. And that's the problem, I believe, that is causing that bridge to happen. So what we do is go to Element, select this one. Now I want actually these inner polygons to face inward instead of out here. I want them to face inward because we're going to be sealing this off, so it's going to feel like there's like an outside here, and it's going to go in, just cup over and then go inside. I don't care about this side because it's going to be inside here. You're not even going to see that. So what we're going to do is we've got Elephant set up, and we're just going to go down where it says Flip right here. And now you see how that shifted so that the shiny part, the bright part, is on the inside now. So theoretically, this is an inside-facing cone now. And with that, we should be able to see a difference, hopefully. And we do. It's not quite what I wanted, but it's close. So let's go back and do the settings again. And this time we can actually see if we can't, that time, see how I rotate, I spun it -1 degrees is all, and all that did was it just straightened those out a little bit so it wasn't quite as twisted. You don't want that twisting look right there. You want it to be as straight as can be. Okay? So now you see why I flipped that inside polygon, because now you can actually see it looks like something that has bored into this cone. Okay, this cone right here, okay? And if we had changed that to outward, it wouldn't have worked that way. So now we've got this inside piece here, so we're one step away from that. And now we need to make it so that this opening here, this hole right here, fits this hole right here. And you can see that there's definitely not enough segments here. Doesn't look like it. Let me see. 20 edges right here. And there's 24 there. So what we can do is one of two things. One of the easy ways is to push some of these vertices together so that there is only 20 segments here. You can also do the same thing here where you can make them more than what they are. Like this is 20, but you can split this polygon in half, so now there's segment here and a segment there, which would make one extra segment than you didn't have to begin with. So instead of having 20, you'd have 21. The easiest one I would say is to fuse these together up here, so that, because you're only doing the bottom half, it could care less about this top half because it's already fused with this top. This piece here, this top cone, is already fused with this top part of this under cone. It's got this nice little circle here. Now all we care about is this bottom half. So to do that, we just go to vertices, we go to target weld, which is right here, and we just click and click, just like that. Just make some, just fuse a couple of them together. So now we just fused one, so instead of having two polygons here, even though there's right here, this segment here is now attached to this segment here, which is this polygon. It's not attached to it's basically this segment and then that segment. So that's one less that we made, and then we made one here, so that's two less. So now theoretically we have 22 segments right now. So we just keep going around just a couple. We don't need a whole lot. 21, and then I'm going to do one more. 20. Now, if I go back to border and I select this, I should have 20 segments now around the edge. And right here, look at that. Right there, 20 segments. Exactly the same number. So what we can do now is start working on getting this in position. We'll just hit F3 so that we can kind of see what we're doing here. And I'm going to hold down Shift and pull down on the Z-axis only, so that I just made another little segment right here, just pulled it down. And I'm going to work with this so that it has a tilt to it. And I'm generally trying to get it towards this big cavity here about the same degree. Again, hold down Shift, just pull down for now, and then use the XY, pull it out closer to where you're going, and then probably want to change to local, see if that, yeah. We changed to local up here, and that way it changes this gizmo so that it follows more or less the direction that I want to go. And it's kind of angled that way, and I want to keep an eye on things, keep changing from F3 back to the solid mode. Yeah. Again, come down. Get it straightened out a little bit. It's a little tricky here because you're going to be moving and rotating at the same time. And you just want to make sure that you have everything geared up. Now, at this point, I'm going to actually start increasing the size of the hole. Why? Because we've already got it to go down that tube. You see how that's starting to curve there? And we need to make this hole eventually get to be about the same size as this shape, so it makes the bridge that we're going to do much easier. We're going to be doing the same bridge as we did up here. So from here, just going to keep holding down shift, move them around, just make sure that it's kind of coming in a general area. It doesn't have to be perfect here because no one's going to see it except the dice. They'll see it. And that's all that matters. And see how it's already tilted a little too much. So let's bring it back a notch and bring it inside. Okay. Now the top part's pretty much ready to go. Matter of fact, we can snap it to a Slim Jim right there, so that, because we know this is going to match perfectly, so we can snap it to that point. All these vertices are going to be able to be welded all the way around, so that's good. So now what we can do at this point, I feel pretty good about everything. So now we can start fusing stuff together. Let's start by just actually going to this top piece here that we've put together. I've just snapped it to it. It's still separate, two separate pieces. You can see over here it says 2 vertices selected. That means it's not fused yet. So we want to go over here and weld that real quick. Did that. And now we're just going to go in here with the vertex and go to target weld, and we're just going to go around the clock. If you want to come in, and if it's easier for you to come in and hit F3 and you can kind of see better, then do that. But you're just going around, and again, we made sure that the number of segments is 20 on either side, so there is the same number of vertices on either piece. So the object is just to keep going around, no matter what, taking the next one, moving the camera if you have to, but just keep click one, click there, and you can see what's happening here. We're just expanding this hole so that it will roll the dice out. Doesn't have to be pretty. No one even cares if it's pretty in here, because you're going to not see this because it's all going to be covered up. But that's it. I mean, that's the name of the game right there. And from here, we can adjust this piece here, this bottom piece, to make sure that the dice can fit in here. And we'll do that by going to end isolate mode and select the die and select the actual part here. We're going to go back to isolation because we just need this die. This is a 22 diameter dice. I believe I already did previously in another life measuring this thing out, so I know it's the typical size that we would use. I'm going to also double check before I start going. But basically, we're going to just stick it up here Now, in the old days, I actually had a thing that I could go in here called a reactor, and still in here. It's a feature in 3D Studio Max that is a simulator. You know, you can basically give things physics. There would be gravity, and you can simulate it, and things will fall down and tumble and things like that. That takes time for me to set up. It's not something to do in a streaming live event. So we're just going to pretend in this case. The main thing is we're just going to send this thing down, come in from the top, hit F3, and get this kind of in the middle. And we're going to see where this thing gets stuck, where it clips through anywhere. And if it does, then we expand that area. That may be an area right there that was it. And you got to really kind of get it in the right spot to make sure that these pieces, that may just be too close right there, because that to me looks like it's going to clip right there. And it doesn't, and there's a little bit of a gap there, but I would feel safer because you've got plenty of room here. So what we can do here is go click on one of the areas in question right there in that tight area, hit F3, go to F for front. You know that it's now this section here, because we selected it first for a reference. We know that it's all that section right there. We're going to turn on soft select. Crank it down a little bit so it's just this area down here. And we're just going to scale it up a little bit, both directions. Really just one direction, because it's already plenty wide enough. It just is a little bit oval section and needs to be really circular. So let's try it again. So it's fine right there. It just seems very, very throttled right here, and it shouldn't need to be. Excuse me. If it goes that far over, it's got plenty of room. And really, you're going to be throwing it in there, and it's eventually going to find its way down here. So this looks like there is sufficient room. And it's starting at that clip right there. So let's get that out of here. It's completely out of the clip, but did it clip anywhere else? And it's sometimes a good way of doing it just like we did. Yeah, we come in from the inside, and you can see it clipping through the walls to the inside. So again, it's just, we need to go in here and expand this up a little bit. Something like there. There. That's better. But yeah, that you can see there's clearly a hole now, and it looks like it can come on the way down without any problems. Let's move it on down then. Let's take it on farther. And let's see if it goes enough where it clears that hole, and it does not. You can definitely see that it does not clear that hole right there. So this area, this part right here, needs to be widened just a tad bit. Now again, we're kind of guessing right here, but we're trying just to kind of simulate this effect so that when we print this thing out, it actually does work. I'm just seeing if it clears. As long as it clears on both sides, it'll come out. Gravity will bring it out. So it doesn't, it just has to not hit things. And as sharp as that is, I have a feeling that it should be just fine. But I'm going to move this little piece here and here up just a tad bit. And do the same thing for here. And do the same thing for there. Because it may fall to one side. There. Okay. And the rest of the way is gravy. So I don't have to worry about that. Okay. So now I've got this thing set up. Let's save as. I've got this set up. You hit this little plus sign next to the save button. Automatically will change. Because I am making a new fresh file. It will not overwrite anything. Which is what you want to do. Pardon me. Had to get a little bit of water. Usually don't want to save over any files. There's no reason to. And you want to be able to backtrack in case you made a catastrophic mistake and you want to just go back, start over, or start at an earlier stage. Hit that plus button and it will make a new file, copy from from what you got right there. And then you can always go in and delete the other stuff. Alright, so now that we've got this, we can bring this bad boy on out. And we've got our makeshift set up here. Let's make sure that we've got everything good. Something about this is not fitting right, but we can fix it by going to the top. And I'm going to just select this piece here, this piece there. I'm just going to bring it on out. Like that. That gets it out of the way. So there's a clean hole there. But we need to find out what this is all about. And why this is all about. I'm talking about this right here. Why these pieces are sticking out. Because I don't want that to be, I want this to print out separately. This thing here, I want it to print out separately and sit right on this part, and then I'm going to print out the coins in two different ways. Let's see, hide by name. I've got coins. I want them to print out. I'm going to still got to work on these guys so they're not going into that because I need this to be printed off separate. This will be one piece. This will be split into two pieces. I doubt I'll print that all in one, but you never know. And then this prints off separately as well so that the coins will fit around it, and then you just glue them together. And this base, who cares about that? But yeah, nevertheless, we got this piece here. So let's find what is the deal here. Ah, it's the base. Okay. It's all about it. As usual, it is all about the base. So, what we're going to do is we're going in with the Slim Jim and making sure that we have all the base pieces. And we're going to flatten it. And by flattening it, I meant use the Z make planar. It flattens that thing out so all of the vertices now that I have selected are on the same plane. And we do that because we're going to be making them stay at we want to align the tool here. And we're going to make it so that it's at the very top of this cone because we want it to set right on the top of it. We don't want any description. So we need just the Z because that's all that matters, just going up and down. And here in the case we want maximum because maximum means top usually, not always, but in this case it does, so that it goes and is now aligned to the very top of that cone that we have there. So now it should sit perfectly on that cone, which is what we're going to have it do. And like I said, the coins are going to go around the cone, and then this thing's going to sit on the cone itself. So it'll be kind of a shred, like a cover-up. But we still have weird. Let's just isolate this thing. Oop, that's not what I want to isolate. Let's isolate the bottom of the chest. And I want to go in here and fix stuff because there's a cavity right here. She can actually goes into the actual chest itself. So yeah, I can actually go inside it. We don't want to do that. I want this to be by itself, just an actual print. I think I opened this up earlier because I was going to have the cone that we just made fused to the chest, and that's not a good idea. So I think I kind of just put, I'm guessing from the last video, I think I took this off, but we're just going to create a new polygon all the way around. And I'm doing this how? I'm using edit poly, selecting a polygon, and I'm creating to make a polygon. And we always look and see when you have nastiness like that. You try not to, by taking one of the vertices, oops, not with snap on, and moving it so that it's not, you can barely see that line, and that's what you want because you don't want the polygon. If you see a line that's in the middle like that, like you've cut it and you haven't, that means that this is not on a flat plane. In other words, this down here is, if you can see from this angle, see how it's kind of flat? It's off like that, or off one of the ways. So you want to have as little, you want this to be as flat as possible, just like you can see all these others. It's just a polygon. There's no crease in it. We're going to do the same thing over here. And see, it's the same thing. So we're going to try our best to figure out which way to go. And usually you just have to go one way or another until it disappears, and that's all that matters. You just want to get rid of it. We can adjust it later, but again, all that matters is that this thing, and that's good enough. You don't have to, if it's not glaring, it's okay. That one, yeah, we'll have to fix that one. And really, it's just a matter of, yeah, just moving the vertice. Just pick one. It doesn't matter if you did one or the other, but just pick one and move it in one direction until it disappears. Alright, so now we've got this thing back to being a solid object. It does not have a third leg, which is the reason why we have the sword there. Double check our model now that we're sitting it up here to make sure that we don't have any problems. There is a hole right here. This won't matter. I could care less because the coins will be covering it up. You can get away with stuff like that. This thing is supposedly going to fit perfectly, I hope, on here. And right now it's not fitting perfectly. It's just sitting there. Oops. Like that. But it looks like it will fit without obscuring it. And then it just sits on this side. And hopefully it'll keep itself upright. I'm pretty sure it will. That looks like it's pretty solid. I mean, it's not going to bear any weight, but doesn't need to. It just needs to hold itself in suspension. But that's going to be the tongue of the model of this crazy creature. So let's build the top part. Now, the top part's going to be more organic than the bottom one. And do I have any planes that has pictures? I do. Does it? There we go. Well, that's one of them. That's really, I mean, it kind of shows what I want to do, but I want to do it more organic than this. I want it to be more rubbery like this. So we're going to try to build the top part like this, and if we can, we'll go back and try to make the bottom half. But right now, I think we can get away with just the top half being kind of an M shape. M is in Mancy, of course. And then give them the handles, which are going to look like earrings, and then his two eyes that look like that's just the iron banding. Alright, so we're going to, for now, we'll move this over to the side, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to highlight or hide it pretty quick. So the first thing we're going to build then is the actual wooden part. That'll be the main shape, and then we'll build all the trim later. So let's get our actual shape there. And we'll look through the, is it the front? Yes, front section F. And we are going to, for now, we're going to hide everything. We're just going to isolate selection just to have this, because we're going to ignore the tongue. We'll worry about that tongue later because we can adjust it. We just need to know the reference of this point and this point, just the size of this thing. So we're going to make a box, pretty simple. Get our snap to Slim Jim turned on with S. And then I am going to probably start from the outside, looking in, like tool. And then we can carve it out. Yeah, let's see if we can do it this way first. And I am just picking a pre-designated point. I mean, matter of fact, if you want to, we can go back out and kind of get an idea of how big this thing needs to be. It doesn't need to be bigger than this whole thing because the dice is going down into it. It technically just needs to be, oh, good grief, technically needs to be about no shorter than, let's say, about that high. So theoretically, it needs to be higher than about there. The opening needs to be definitely that big. So let's go back to this, and we're going to leave this as an example. You can actually freeze it, I believe. Freeze selection. Yeah. I wish there should be a way to see through frozen objects. Let's see. Open object. Well, let's unfreeze first, and then we go to objects. See through, and then freeze. There we go. So I right-clicked, and I went to object properties after I had this thing selected, and then put the freeze and the see-through. That way, I can't select this now. It's just a reference for me being there, so now it's not even a part of the object. So you can't even snap it to it. So we're going to go back and make our top here have an idea. So this is where the die, it has to be taller than this because it's going to be, that's going to be the opening. Okay. My goodness, it sure is like a ghost. Alright, so because of that, it needs to be kind of at an angle. It needs to be somewhat, you know, like an angle so that it's back in the back and then opened up enough so that it can go in, something like that. Alright, so we know the size there, and we know it's going to be kind of an M shape, so let's give us some segments here. Handful of those for now, we'll add more later. And then we know that's going to have some kind of a side grip to it, so we'll leave this thing here so we can extend this piece outward for the anchor for the ring that will be there. And then we already have the two areas right here for the bands up at the top, so we're good there. So that's pretty much all it needs to be. So let's go to Edit Poly. We add an edit to the box. That way we don't have to We could always delete this and start back over if we have to. All right. First thing, I want to get the general shape of the chest. So I'm selecting the top and then Alt deselecting the side. So I just have this top here, and then using the X or the Z and the Y, I'm just going to pull this thing out. And that's good enough. Just a general area to give it that kind of the barrel vaulted ceiling look, like a barn. And it gives you kind of an idea of the lid. We're getting there. And we do want to make it similar to this piece here, so it looks like it's part of it. So we'll worry about that later. For now, we just need to get this whole shape working right. And let's add another one. And let's see if we can't get this shape done. I'm going to push F for fun. And then we'll push L. That's what I want, L, to get the side of this thing. And I want everything on that side selected. And I'm going to bring it up. And then bring this up. And then something like that. And I'm just going to select the inner pieces here, this lower part, and it's going to go farther because I want it to kind of snarl. I'm envisioning as I'm making this as if it has a smoothing, it has a turbo smooth applied to it, which is that. So I'm kind of anticipating, all right, well, eventually it's going to have that, so I'm trying to make sure I have that. I know that it's not going to be smooth now, but it will here in a second when I put that in there. So I'm not too worried about it. I don't want that so low down. I want it to kind of come up with and maybe bring it over a little bit. Maybe the whole thing. Maybe this piece here. I'm leaving most of this top part as well as I can untouched. Unfortunately, I touched, did exactly what I wasn't supposed to. I didn't want to touch the backside because it's completely immaterial. It does not need to be snarling because it's, and we may just redo this because I think I'm kind of, yeah. Yeah, see how it zigzags too. That's not good. Let's see if we can salvage it. Kind of, but not really. Because now it has kind of a bulge here. Even this side comes in, and it shouldn't. I'm just going to use that frozen section as somewhat of a guide. These two, definitely, I do not want them to be offline. Yeah, so kind of do that. I don't think I need that anymore, so I pretty much know where I'm at. We'll hollow this lid out later. It's something that's just deleting all these polygons down here and adding a shell modifier, and you're done. So that'll be one of the last things we do. Now, I did want to make it kind of an M shape, but this is starting to look more and more like this is what it's going to be. What's it going to be? I don't want this bottom piece. Yeah. Yeah. Probably wanted to make another one right here to make it more like a V section. So let's do that. I'm going to ring it. So it selects all these and then connect. So it makes a little slice. And then I'm going to take just these three right here. F3, just these three right here. I'm going to bring it up. Why? Because now I've got little crookedness. See how it is? It's starting to have like a chomp 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 mouth. Get rid of that turbo smooth. You're not going to need it for a while. Alright, so there is the basic. Let's add another polygon, edit poly to it. And we're going to add the bottom banner to it. And the way you do that is just go in here, and we're going to have to do our best to mimic this thing. Actually, I think I'm going to have to make this little lip here. So what we're going to do here is go to ring again right here, and we're going to put in a connect setting and then move it down to like right there, because this segment is this segment right here. So I'm just trying to eyeball it, and then click OK, and then select the next one and go to ring, and then go to connect, and I want to bring it down like that, and then one more, ring, connect, done. And now I can go in here and just select around here, just what you guys wanted me to do. I tell you what, I cannot stand pink in these models. They're awful. Light colors are just terrible in this. Okay, so we are going to bevel. And actually, I don't even think we need a bevel. I think we just try and see if we can't expand this. Let's expand it sideways first. So now we've got that little ridge like we do here. It doesn't have to be the same, it just has to be close. And then we can go in here, now that we've expanded it, now we can go in here and we can try to do local and do the z-axis. It seems to be okay. It looks like it actually seems to work for once. Okay. We don't have to go far because that thing didn't go very far. That's good enough. All right, so that's that little banding right there. Then it goes up a little bit, just like there's this little gap, and then there's this bigger piece here that's the big majority of the section, and it's basically this section right here. So again, we've got, and we're actually going to bevel this thing. We're going to extrude this thing out, but it's basically starts here and ends here. There's basically just really just starts this segment here and ends their segment. So there's two segments in between the two. So having said that, there's two segments here. We need to put two segments in between here to make it look like this right here, where it's 4 horizontal segments. And so you just grab one of them, and again, go to ring. And if you've properly modeled this thing, it should just go all the way around it. Go to connect, but hit the settings this time. Cancel out your last command. Go to 2 this time because you want 2 segments. Just select the bottom one. And then the second one will separate them. And again, you just want to eyeball it. It's not that big a deal. Now that you've got that, go back to your polygon setting. And you're going to go ahead and select all the way around. And I want the back too because I'm going to be wanting the band to go all the way around. We're going to do the same thing as we did a second ago. We're going to just jut it out, but not too far. Just kind of look where we're going. Actually, what we should have done was extrude it first because that'd make it a heck of a lot easier. So let's back up because accidents are our friends. There. We want these pieces first to be extruded because if you look down here, see how this whole bar right here, it comes out from that right there. So we need to do that as well because we want it to, look like the two pieces are somewhat close to being the same piece. All right. So we just click bevel. You can click extrude if you want. It does the same thing because we're not going anywhere. Just bring it out somewhere. But you see how it goes in one direction again? It's all going towards the front. Like there. You need to change the group normal to local. Okay. And although that does look really cool the way it's set up like that, we're going out. So make sure it's positive. And what you can do here is take it another step and hit your plus button, zero out your last command, bring it in a little bit, and bring it out. And actually mimic what you did here by just bringing it out a little bit. Just make sure you bring it down close enough, and we'll fix this in a second. And make sure you come out so that it's prominently enough so it actually looks like it. And then all you need to do is just start hitting your W and move these things around so that you've got a little bit of a thickness there, like that. It's coming along. All right, next, I want to have kind of a band around these edges, and then the two bands on the top. So let's go to another edit poly, and this time I'm going to select these, and I'm going to come inward with the bevel. Pretty good ways too. And matter of fact, I don't like, well, no, it may be a little too thin there, but it'll be all right. And then I'm going to hit the plus sign because we've gone in as far. I want this to be flat. If I pull it in, it'll just be angled, and that's not quite right. I can come out this way if I want to, and that may not be too bad. That's not too unattractive. And if we do that, then we need to just hit OK here because those coordinates are now saved in the computer for a little bit. So you want to go back and do the same thing here and then go to bevel, and it will do the exact same settings that you had. Okay. Just remember that whenever you're trying to do multiple things. If you're not doing some symmetry with this is asymmetrical, it's not something you can split in half. So you have to keep track of both sides, and if you want them to look anywhere close by, that's kind of important. All right, let's see. I don't think we're going to be able to do anything here, so I'm just going to deselect that. I think it's just going to be here because I want it to be in do the same thing there. And then this time I want to come in, cancel my out. I'm going to come in. And I'm not going to do the scaling. The bevel part will be ignored, but I will just want it to bring it in 2.5 roughly-ish. But if we go over to bevel here, it'll automatically remember. Now, if we do scaling, we can go with the local turned on and then go this way and this way. And it does it to scale. So it gives it kind of a dimension there. Do the same thing there. And this time you don't have to quite do it the same. Well, you can if you want to. You go to L and you can get it like right on the money if you want to. Just get it so that they're pretty close there. Okay. I am going to change this to freaking blue because that's driving me nuts. Can't see anything. All right. So now I've got a little bit of some depth to it. That's the bevel part of the side. And now I'm going to put a little bit of the banner on the banding on the top, and we're going to use the big ones. I think so. Yeah, we'll give those a shot. All right, let's see what happens. Here we're going to change it back to local normal so that it goes out evenly in all directions, and we're going to bring it out. We don't want it farther than the actual the bottom, this banding, because we're going to be tying those together here in a little bit. And then we just bring it on in like that. There you go. I may not even fuse those together. Sometimes I like to make it so the banding goes into the banding. So this banding here is in the same fused as that one, but I like the separation there. Nom 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 nom. All right, let's add another one. Shoot, yeah, because we have tons of them. Why not? Let's go to this one. We're gonna make the side ring here, and we start that out by just simply extruding it outward, so that it has some kind of a piece here. And click on OK. We'll do the same thing. We just got to keep going back and forth between the two so that they're fairly close in proximity, in size and shape and all that. And now I basically want to I'm going to be fusing a ring to this, but I want the ring to be gripped by another ring. This piece here, I want it to kind of be a C, kind of a closed C clamp, or C shape. So what I can do is grab, I don't know, these pieces here, and let me make sure that I don't have, I thought I did. Yeah, I almost wondered if I had a second piece there, and I absolutely did. Oh, man. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. I don't want this piece. Let's see. I'm just hitting the back button right now. And then I'm hitting the forward button, which cancels all my... bummer. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of, so you just basically get rid of it by just clicking your border, and then cap it, and then it's back. I just didn't want an extra piece there. Make sure the other side. Nope, of course not. I totally might have botched this whole thing. Let's see if it. Yeah, I did. Well, I guess we'll just kind of eyeball it then, because I screwed that up. I guess something like that. All right, so back to what I was doing before I was horribly interrupted by a horrible mistake. I'm going to try to go in here and grab the edges here, and I'm going to split them in half so that I have two polygons, one right here and one right here. And this time I'm going to bevel, but instead of group normals, I want to do it by polygon, because now it's going to be individual. I can individually, adjust this. And from here, I just want to get me some right there. Do the same thing here. See if I can get it done. Connect, get the two, and bevel. It likes it. Alright, so now I want to gradually make this so that these two pieces don't like each other anymore. I think the only way I can do that is by vertices. Let me see. I think. That's wonky. It doesn't want to do that. Hey. Alright. That's better. That's closer to what I wanted. But it's still, my goodness, it's not even close to being local. Yeah. Sometimes I have to switch between vertices and polygon to get this thing acting right. At this point, I'm just going to wing the other one. It was way too big. Way too big. I don't need the rings to be this big. Merp, merp. Select all the polys. I'm going to have to redo that. It's going to be quite the chore. Alright, there we go. And then get these to where they're not so far away from each other. Wah, wah. Like that. And then let's get these puppies together. Let's bring them in so that they love each other. Let's see. Shoot, just leave it like that. I don't see why not. Let's bring it on out. And then delete that so that you can bridge these two together. You want open orifices. And you got these two that you've deleted, so you can bridge these two together, and it just does that. Again, it doesn't have to be pretty, it just has to look alright. We can probably bring these things in a little bit. They're a little bit too far out. Yeah, I get to do the exact same thing over again. Alright, so first thing we did... Yeah, it almost makes me want to, like... Yeah, I wonder if I can just take these and copy them over. Let's see. Clone to object. And now take my object here. And rotate in a local sort of way with snap on. Just rotated it basically, and then I'm going to go in and try to remove the unwantedness and then attach my piece again. And I'm going to take these pieces right here, all of them, and by pieces I mean every one of them, and then I want to just like sit that right there. That's not what I wanted. I want to sit that right in the chair. That's what I wanted. And now I'm going to go in here and target everything. So that it's all one mama baby. It's just one mama baby. And you got it done. Alright, so what I did there is I grabbed the polygons on one side. I held down shift and I dragged the selected polygons over. And what that does is it makes a clone of just the selected objects, but it still is a part of your overall model, which is the top of the lid here. But I chose the clone to object, which automatically detaches that selected clone that you just made from the main model. And you want to do that because you're going to turn just those polygons that you just copied 180 degrees so it faces the other direction, so you basically are mirroring it. If you don't detach that from your object and you try to turn the object, the selected polygons around, you may have a lot of issues with it affecting the overall model. So it's easier just to detach it, rotate it, and then attach it again. It takes 2 seconds to do that. And then because it has the exact same polygon or vertices and polygons as the other side, then it'll just snap it right back in there. You just go in there and target weld all those pieces and you're good to go. Now we're going here into the left view and we're going to actually make the ring. And the nice thing about the print is that when you print this thing as a torus, you can break off the supports and it will forever be automatically inside it. I'll show you what I'm talking about here. Let's see, let's put it in there first. Yep, that's perfect. And yeah, we're going to be adjusting the bracket as we get the thing to being the size that we want, which is about there. And I want it to be a big O-ring. That may be too big, but at the same time that kind of looks cool. So now we're going to get it to just the right spot that we want it, so that we feel it's best suited. And yeah, we are going to make new ones. Make another edit poly because we're going to have to duplicate this on the other side. So you'll actually see what I was talking about a second ago where I duplicate polygons. Right now we're going to make this so that it fits. And to do so, all you got to do is just select the top part and just bring it up until, oops, until there is a little bit of a gap here. And see, it's still clipping through. So bring it up some more. And now there's a gap. Let's adjust the actual, could adjust the ring to make it like that, just a tad bit, and then just rotate it so that it has a little bit more clearance. And then we just move it down just a bit. So that now we've got a little bit of a gap there. And if you can somehow get it to where, you know, when you print this thing off, it'll have supports that hold that suspended like that. And if you just break the suspension ports off, then you've got a live piece inside that little plastic deal, and it'll stay in there. But we want to strengthen this thing up a bit because this is starting to weaken up a little bit. So we want to bring that up. Oh my goodness. I cannot get this thing where I want it to be. Okay, there we go. Give me what you want to decide. Let me stand next to your fire. Alright. And one of the things that I would probably want to do is take this back so that it doesn't have quite the lip and kind of follows in on that. Yeah. And do the same thing for this over here, because I don't, again, this to me doesn't seem like it's being as effective as I want it to be. There. Now I got a bigger hole. Let's thicken this up because this is dangerously thin right here. And we can chamfer this thing in a bit and get it so it doesn't look quite as boxy as it did. Oops. Let's get the right coordinates. That was not the right coordinates, so that's okay. Okay. Alright, so that will get you pretty much what you need there. And again, if you want to kind of tighten this thing up a little bit, it may need a little bit of adjustment just from a lack. Oops. It needs just a little more oomph. Thickness is what I'm looking for. Oh, there you go. Let's see. bring this out just a bit. Down just a bit. Since I'm working at such an odd angle, I'm constantly moving it back and forth to see it from every possible vantage point, because it'll play tricks on your mind if you don't watch out. And I mean, that's not very pretty in the least bit. So what I should have done, and what I will do here, and everybody's screaming at me, why don't you make like just a tube? Well, that's what I'm gonna make. So shut up. I know what I'm doing. So basically, we're just making a tube. And make it long. Ooh. There we go. Good enough. So now we just make it in the general angle that we have it at, which is not that. It's just gonna have to go off the grid. And that's good enough. Okay, so in this case, now we're just gonna make ourselves a little piece like that. And it works well because it's already, I mean, that's basically what I should have done to begin with, but I didn't because I wasn't thinking. I was wanting to do it organically. We don't need, do we need it to bulge out? We definitely don't need that many segments. If anything, we need like maybe that. And that's it. Let's go sideways. And I'm going to select the select object instead so I can go over and not move. I can drag on things and not move objects. It allows me to select stuff like that. It's neat. And then from here, we go to object scale and just pop these bad boys out. So it's got a little bit of an oomph. I want to chamfer this out just a tad bit. It ain't going to let me chamfer it very much, so it may not even be worth it. Yeah, it really wasn't worth it. Alright, that's fine. That's fine! If I do it again, will it make me do it? Yeah, that time it did. Get a chamfer, then chamfer it again, then it'll let you do it. Yeah. Now we got a nice little beady thing. But we got a problem. It's not connected to what we need. Let's move this thing out of the way. Oh. Let's move this thing out of the way. And we're going to have to fuse this thing together. And there's a lot more segments than there are in the chest. So what we're going to do is come in here and we're probably just going to like select one of these things is not like the other. And we're going to scale it up. Scale it, move it down. Something like that. And then we'll make a copy of this first, because I want it to be on the other side. So let's go ahead and copy this over. We don't want it to be instance because we're going to be adding it. And we're going to delete all that because we don't need it. I'm going to rotate it because this is facing the wrong direction. So we can just mirror it. You know, just mirrored. And then in the front view, we just kind of, I don't know, eyeball this thing so we get it within reasonable close. proximity. Something like that. Same thing for there, just more or less right there. Okay, with edit poly selected, basically removing those pieces. So theoretically we could delete this because it's just going to be adding these, but we're going to leave them on there because with it turned on they're already gone, so it doesn't matter. I'm going to attach these two pieces, and then we're going to go to border, select that opening, select this opening, so now you got two openings, and just hit bridge and cross your fingers. And that did not quite come out exactly as I wanted it, but it's pretty close. I would have liked to have seen less twisting, so let's see if we can actually untwist this just a tad bit. Not that way. I don't like that either. And it doesn't really. You can do one of these two ways pretty much, because everything else is not looking good. So it's one of these, either this or this. And this one looks better because it doesn't have any, it doesn't straight, it goes to the nearest points. So that's good. And let's do the same thing over here. Where am I? Disoriented. That's what. Select these two borders and then do the same bridge. And it still does the same thing. So we're going to do the same thing over there. There we go. Just twist it a little bit. Autosave. And then we save this as a new file. Alright, so we've got the little beady holes here, which is going to have some support in there to make them like that, but that's just how it is. And then on the front view, and now we can move it in here and we can adjust this ring. And actually, the ring might be a little bit thicker now because we did such a good job pulling our heads out of our butts. Now, one thing you can do if you don't want to have any supports at all is to not have it free floating. So you could make this thing, this ring, so big that it fits in between like that and fuse it together. That's perfectly fine. And if you want it to be like that, that may be an even better idea for you because you'll have no support materials between the two. These will be fused together at the end. So it'll still look like a big ring, but it won't free flow. And you know, I'm going to go ahead and do it that way. Just even though I like to have something that I think it'd be cool to have it free floating, I'm just going to, I think this will be a much easier way of doing it, is going this route. So we've got our rings now. Isn't she pretty? She's just beautiful. Now, what else do we have to do? We need to tighten this thing up so that when we turn on Turbo Smooth, it doesn't go haywire like it does now. We want to get some sharp edges in there. It's just not quite there yet. And we want this maw to be much, much bigger opened. So we're going to go in here, turn off Turbo Smooth, turn on New Edge Select, or an Edit Poly, and we're going to adjust this thing so that mouths open, pieces open up bigger. So we're going to try to grab, my gosh, let me try to grab like all that there. Yeah, nothing on the back, just on the front. And then we're going to turn off our locals for now. Boy, we're going to have to try to use Z and Y and bring it up even more because we need this exaggerated. We need this to be like thinking it is really going to take a good chomping piece out of you. And we're going to take all this up here on the top, from the top to the bottom. Now we're starting to deform it a little bit. That's more like it. Now we want it to kind of look like he's really kind of opening his mouth. We may want to bring this piece in just a hair downward. Like that. And we want to do the same thing as we did over here. I think it's this piece here. Yeah. And just pop it right on up. Like that. We'll fix the thinness here pretty soon. We don't want it to go quite so far. And do the same for the back row. Probably should have done that with it, but that's alright. There we go. Let's fix this thing right here because our lip is just too narrow right here. And we need it to be not quite so thin, so we're going to just bring the bottom lip down. It'll still give that look that we're wanting. But it's now a little bit more disoriented, distorted. I'm just doing a little cleanup here. Yeah, something like that. Now it has a little bit more definition and rubberiness, which is good. But again, we still need to make sure that this thing has some nice ridges to it. We may want to increase the size of that because that's a weak spot. So that's something we need to probably consider. Let's add another. You can add as many edit polys as you want. You don't have to be told to don't add too many of them. Excuse me. It doesn't matter. All right, yeah, this is definitely a weak spot. So broaden that bad boy out. And do the same thing over here. Just select that little joining, those little 4 vertices that fused the 2 pieces together. And you're just looking for relative size, which will theoretically strengthen that joint. And you got a little bit thicker than it was. Okay. Now let's go in and start tightening this stuff up. All right. Now I have been saying about practicing renaming your edit poly so you know which one of these is what. I've gotten pretty confident now that I very rarely need to go back through these edit polys. If I do, I just turn them off and I see what they do, and then I just back up until a point where I feel I can move forward again. So it's not necessary completely to rename these, but you're more than welcome to. Usually people will abbreviate EP for edit poly and then write out very quickly just one word, tighten, meaning tightening. This is going to be just for tightening purposes. And this is going to be where I'm going to go in for a lot of these edges. And I'm going to try my best to get these loops. It's not going to work. I'm going to have to go in here. This could be a bit on the deadly side. I've got to go in here and select all my edges that are joining together. Each time I select one, I double click, just because if it connects to the next one, it'll just go down just like that. Because I've got it so wonky, it's not going to want to go all the way around. I cannot loop it because it's not totally fine. But right now, I want to go ahead and connect and do an extrude, and I'm going to bring it out and then go in. And what that does, it gives me a crease right there. Now, if that's what you want, that works, and there's a nice little, like, you see how this top part kind of is a smooth area, but this one's a tight crease and all that. That could be fine if you want to go that route. Here's another way, though. I'm going to delete that. I'm going to add it back again. EP Titan. Because I want it to be sharp edged. I want this edge to stay where it is right here. And in order to do that, you've got to shake the body for me. Go in and check that all these pieces here, all the way around, are selected, which they are. And then we're going to connect, and we're going to put two of them together, and we're going to separate them all the way and just barely bring them back, like 94, 93, something like that. And now that you've got those two pieces there, you've got a sharp edge right there, where it looks like those pieces are really kind of separating themselves away from everything. And that should be good right there. Let's see.
do 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 do. Dun, dun, do 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 boom 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 boom. Just making sure. Just making sure I'm doing it right, doing it right, doing it right. All right. Sorry for the delay. I had to make sure I was doing it right. All right. So continuing on this amazing deal, we going to tighten this thing up too. So does it go all the way around? Shoot, no. It goes about halfway and then it stops. Then it picks up right there, but we have too many. Oh, I think we can fuse that little bad boy right there because he does not need to be there. Is he on the other side? I think so. Hello, computer. There we go. There we go. And this side too. There we go. All right, back to what I was doing. Push that and ring it. And it's pretty close to being all the way around. I can leave it running into that. It's not that big of a deal. We're not going to be dealing with that. We just need to be making a segment right there and right there so we can have a connect button. And it's already ready to go, so there it is, right there. That will help me tighten up that corner there, but we still need this corner here because this corner needs to be nice and tight. So let's do that again. And this time it goes all the way around because we just did it, I think, just a second ago. All right, so now we do connect, and now it's the inside part of it. So we've got now this edge, and if we turn our Turbo Smooth on, look at that. We've got a nice sharp edge right there, but still has a nice organic rubbery look to it because it's an alive creature. It's trying to eat you. It's getting there. So it's not that bad. But we need to keep going. So that is that part. Now we need the base part. So we got to keep going. Keep going. Keep on keeping on, as Mr. Dillon said. Look-see. I got a hook-see. All of those are there. This is doing well. Again, if you model it the way you want to, simple, then you can do that easily where you just select that and you're good to go. Same way for here. Just look around just to follow it along. You're just seeing red lines. All you're looking for is you can see. You don't have to go in and see every single detail. If you see a line right here and a line over here, you know that there is a clear path and all of them are selected. You just have to glance at it once you go around, and that's good enough. Don't look at every single one of them. There's no need. Just keep this same setting as it is. And now this whole band should be nice and crisp, which it is. It's got that nice sharp edge to it, which is what I want. It looks like a piece of metal, but it kind of has a cartoonish look to it, which is exactly what I want. And now we do these bandings, and really we can just do them all. On this side, do a connect. We just want one time this time. Oh, that's not looking good. Oh, it's because I don't have all. Okay, well. Something wrong here. It's not supposed to do that. Is there 2 pieces there? No.
Well then, fine. Let's just do it one at a time. Bothersome. Yeah, it should. It's not supposed to do that. So let's just do the sides and see what happens. It's not supposed to do that. Oh, okay. I see what I made the mistake at. I'm an idiot. It's this. A good sign of me probably needing to call it quits in a little while because I'm starting to make silly mistakes like that. I shouldn't have known. I should have known. I should have known. That's a good Foo Fighters song. And then again, we're going to stick with the like roughly 90, I don't know, 90-ish. That's good enough. Do the same thing over here. While I'm thinking about it, just wanted to give a shout out. Good buddy of mine. I'm going to keep him anonymous, but he graciously donated a time-lapse camera, and with that, we made our first test run of a print. Big thanks to him. The Sphere tank, if you remember from last year's Kickstarter, we printed that this weekend, and about 9 hours worth of printing, 8 hours and 50 minutes to be exact. We sped it up in this camera and cut it down to around 6 minutes so you can actually see it. It's on. It's in our channel right now. It's already uploaded and ready to go. So if you have 6 minutes or if you just want to skip through it and just see the progression, it is kind of a neat thing to see at high speed. So I suggest if you got some time, go ahead, check that out if you would. And if you like it, great. If you have any criticism on it, by all means, leave a comment, and I like to hear that stuff. But yeah, we're going to continue using that as a tool to show as we print these things off, just how this thing works. And hopefully with that, you guys will have a better understanding of this operation. And eventually we're going to have it where hopefully we start get some resin stuff. For those of you who don't have 3D printers, we really want to get to that point where we can get a model to you in your hands, so you don't need that 3D printer. You don't need to go out and spend the big money on equipment and things like that and the maintenance. You just go in here and order from us, and we take care of you. We're thinking about trying to do a Kickstarter so that we can raise the money for the appropriate equipment and materials and things like that. And if we do that, we'll be sure to let everybody know on the Facebook and somewhere around here too when that gets closer. But that's what our goal is right now, is to sometime in, hopefully 2019 will be the target goal at some point, for us to progress from the 3D printing exclusive STL files and move into a physical format. Something I think has always been cool is modeling something from scratch and getting it in 3D, like a physical model of it. But to get it into resin where it feels like a prototype, an actual object rather than just a crude printing or something like that, I think is really special. So I'm looking forward to that. Let's see. These bands need to be gripped at the bottom too. Because I want them to have a nice I want to basically be rigid in here. And you're asking, well, why don't you just not turn on Turbo Smooth? Well, you know.
Be quiet, it's my model.
The reason is because certain parts of this I want to stay rigid. I want creases because if you don't have the creases, like right here, then you don't have the separation. Right here, it looks like the band is part of the wood, and I want it to look more like that, where it's actually separated, because you got to keep them separated. See how that's like smooth right there? It doesn't look like it's separated. This band is separated. It looks like it's a piece of it. So that's the importance of that. And then we'll go in and make actual creases with the extrude modifier once we get this done. And that'll really make the separation between the two. But first, we got to get that nice sharp edge look, and then we can go in there and start cutting slices and dices. There's that. See how it has that kind of a separation, but it doesn't really have a huge separation, but you definitely can see a banding right there. And that's what we're looking for. We still want this googly, you know, roundabout mouth here. That's just fantastic. But we want it to have some separation there. All right. Let's save this as a new file. See, I'm up to like 7 now. Doesn't bother me. I've had like 50 max files in the past, and it just, I mean, over big projects, over the course of several months, I may, and then I just delete, you know, the first, 10 or 15 or whatever, and that's fine. You do what you got to do. Hey, by the way, if you don't like hearing me singing, feel free to write YouTube and thank them for not allowing us to have any music of any kind while we're doing this without getting ticketed for copyright infringement, because, I don't have any of these things monetized yet. Not making any money off of this yet. It's illegal to play music. It's not mine, even though it's not for financial gain. Go figure that one out. All right. I did not put, I put this little banding here, and I did not put a banding on there. I kind of want to, and I don't know if I'm going to get away with it, but we're going to try. Because I've got 2 pieces there, and this may work, it may not. We're going to try it. I probably should be doing another edit poly on this, but we're going to just do it free-handed. And we want to connect, and irony is I need these 2 to be connected. I need these 2 to be separated like that. But I'm still wanting to get a piece here. So I'm going to go ahead and ring this thing up. Yeah. And then, how far is on the back? That's fine. And I'm going to connect it by 1 this time. And not quite so far over, a little bit closer, something like that, and maybe a little bit more. I want it to be kind of, there we go, about the same. Now, really the only way I'm going to do this is bringing this thing in. And we'll see if we can do that. Let's bevel this, and I want to localize and bring it in. Yeah, like that, something like that. Gives it a little edge there. I should have done that earlier, but I think that'll be all right. Let's see how it looks with a Turbo Smooth tuned on. Got a little bit of a crink there. Not sure I like that. And we'll fix this down here once we get that part, because it's a little bit on the rounded side. But yeah, I think we're okay. So now we need to do the same thing we just did. But they need to go out there. So get those things nice and tight. And do the same thing right here. Get those nice and tight. And then right here, ring it. These guys need to be nice and tight. There. And now we should, yeah, it looks a lot better now. Slowly coming together. That has a little bit of an issue there, though. So let's clean that up a little bit before we move on to the next side. And it's mostly that right there, that little hook line. But right now, let's tighten this thing up a little bit, shall we? We need, what do we need to make this thing? Oh, I need to be on this side. Ring it. Do I? Well, that may work. Let's see what happens. Always check yourself before you wreck yourself. Yeah, that's a nice clean curve, right? Turn right there. That's what we like. And it even started right there too to give us that start over there. So yeah, we're working well here. This piece here is not going to be quite as tight as or as loose as it is, so we need to bring it. But I don't know. I do want to have kind of a sharper edge to this thing. So let's see what happens. I don't need two of them. I just need the one, and I want it all the way over to one side. Something like that. Let's see how that tightened it in. Like I said, I don't want to tighten too much. Maybe we need to pull that thing back out just a tad bit, but that's close. Let me actually leave it like that. That's a heck of a little dimple right there. Look at that thing sticking right out there. What the crap is that? It's that piece. Oh, it's the little banding thing. That ain't gonna happen. That's gonna have to go. That's gonna have to go. And of course, we gotta tighten that up. Or do we? Does it need to have those bandings in the front? That's a good question. Well, if that's the case, we can get rid of them and then just make the lip a little bit, this lip a little bit bigger. I mean, it won't be quite that narrow, but that may be the way to go. Let's we're playing fire now. We're using the same polygon tool, and get rid of that and cap it. And then we got rid of that one. Let's do the same thing for this one. If we're not going to do it, we're not going to do any of them. Oh, don't move it. Don't want to move it. And then cap it. All right. So now we probably want to edge and move upward. Edge, move up. Something like that. Just to give it a little bit more size and dimension. Okay. And that looks pretty sloppy right there. What do we got here? Oh, yeah, that's a nasty looking cut. Yeah, we don't want that. We got way too many segments there that do not need to be there, or polygons. So we really only need it to be this needs to go. That whole segment needs to go. How bad is it? It's pretty bad. Alright, well, we start fiddle-dee-dee-ing. No, before I do that, we are making a new one. Because I have got to keep me from getting myself in too much trouble. It's gonna really make me just delete all this? Okay, good grief, it's sensitive. So right now I've made it too tight. I've added too many segments to a corner, so that you've got too much tightness all the way up here, and that's what's causing that little bump out right there. That's not what we want. So we're just going to delete that, and we're going to start just welding this gap back together, and it should be all right once I get this thing rolling. Hopefully I've got them all. To fuse that together. It seems like it's going to be the same thing. We'll figure it out here in a second. Just got to make sure our gaps are sealed. Because this is, now you see how it's still already back to that, making that ledge like we had just a second ago. And it just shows you that we had way too many cooks. Okay. Now, just to test it, we want to see what we did. And it still has that ridiculous fin that we want to get rid of. And it's really all this stuff is right here. So, once again, we just need to really just kind of get rid of all this and just redo it, because it got way out of hand. Yeah. Yep. 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 Alright. Now. I think we're good here. Now we just need it. Now this is what we need to join. You just, man, it had so many pieces. And this blasted thing is getting sensitive. We'll have to fuse some of these pieces later. Because it needs to have the segments from somewhere. I don't even have those made yet. I have to make those. I'll show you what I'm talking about here in a second. Gotta fuse them vertices first. One is good. This one goes there? Nope. Oh, maybe it does. Alright, so that's just a cluster right there. So we need to adapt. Boy, this is going to be a headache. This is why you don't want to be making silly decision and changes like this, because it just, you can mess with your mind and you can possibly not recover from it. All these little bitty unnecessary pieces. This piece shouldn't matter at all. Okay. So that piece is open. Nope. It is sealed. That piece is sealed. It's this piece here. And it shouldn't have been that where it fused. So this piece should not have gone there. Rather, this piece should not have gone there. Dadgummit, I'm going to have to recreate. And it has to go to here. And then there, there, and there. And then this thing, I believe, goes bye-bye. Mercy. See how it can be complicated there for a little bit, boys and girls? You gotta be... Oh, man, this is getting... My space pilot's super sensitive tonight for some reason. So now... Now I'm just going to cut real quick, just because. Move these pieces up, up, and away. There. Okay, now that's connected. I guess I just didn't have the right... Boy, that's a lot. I don't have this piece connected here yet. And I don't want it to be here. So this needs to go. Because this... That's not necessary. Yeah, I don't know why I put that there, because it's really unnecessary completely. Because I want it to be smoother right here, I think, don't I? Well, I didn't mean to do that. There's a piece right here that I'm trying to get to where it just goes. Let me, I think I need to weld this vertice. Here, I've stared at it long enough. And then, can I weld these two vertices right here? That's just one vertice. So, why not just make a polygon? And then see if the border goes, yeah, it goes on farther. So we need to, I'm gonna just have to make that. But for right now, let's target what we need to target. And make what we need to make. Try this at home, kids. You're not gonna like it. Alright, let's see if we've fixed the problem or if it continues. Yeah, it's still really, really bad right there. I think it's because there's just so many. This whole thing just needs to not have all the pieces, so many segments. So, what's the easiest way to do it? You have to get rid of it all. Oops. So let's get rid of it all. That may be all I need. Ooh, I accidentally selected the back. Be careful, kids. What you wish for. Alright. Now, we go back. I don't know why I put this segment right here. These segments are just... They're just a disaster. Just redo this tightening. Terrible. Horrible. Alright. Hopefully we got everything squared off now. I can leave this base here because it does go along the bottom here around there. So that seems like it's okay. But this definitely needs to go. I see now why I did it though. It's for this section right here just to get it tightener. That's okay, we'll do something else. Like I said, we just need to get it back a little bit and clean things up just a tad. And we'll be right as rain. Have a cookie. I don't want a cookie. Have a cookie. Or I won't tell you your future. Okay, I'm having a cookie. You're gonna die. Oh, thanks. Boom, 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 Alright, so I've got to delete this too. No, I'm not going to delete that. That's already there. Okay, now what? Well, here's where we do. We actually have to go in deep, and I mean really deep. And we start by making these random pieces. I do mean random because they're not even going to be a part of this. Just putting them in as placement holders. Alright, so that's definitely not what I want to do, but it's definitely, it's how you start. You just make a piece here so that you have room to anchor this piece where you really want it. And make sure I just did it right. Because I feel like I didn't, and I didn't. Dang it. It blasted small vertice sections. Oh, is everybody getting sick yet? I am. There we go. And now because we have this piece here, we can just go ahead and anchor to that and anchor it back. And now we've got the poly where we want. We can delete this one. So we've got where we want it to be. And if we go ahead and finish what we started, which technically we need to go ahead and delete this because this would be a lot easier if well, not really. Right now we can go ahead and put these, splice this two together, I guess. And make it so that it's close. And now we can poly this little section here. Oh good, that did not even do what I wanted to do. Try it again. It's because I didn't click just the right spot. Tiny, this is why you really don't want to do a whole lot of work. Oh man, didn't do it again. I'm accidentally clicking on the wrong vertex there. I think I got it right that time. You got to get in real close. There. There. Man, that was tight. And we got to clean this up. Because we really haven't done this yet. Sucks, but it's going to have to be. Oh man, really we should just clean this all up. Oh, should have done that first. I could have made these a lot easier, but whatever. We make one mistake, we make 30 mistakes. Nice thing is the other side will be automatic. I'll know not to do this. And it'll be a lot easier. Yeah, go ahead and save it when I've made all these mistakes. Thanks. Whoa. Let's try again. Whoa. Alright, we got to keep that rest of the stuff because it's just, there's just too much. It really almost needs to be where I'm going to have to like almost redo this, because if I go in here and just turn this off and turn this off and turn that off, yeah, I'm losing out on this, and I may go ahead and do this off camera because this is really not very exciting at all, and this would be a lot quicker if I just go in here, because I mean all I've done is just tighten stuff up. So that's what I'm going to actually do after screwing around here for so long. I'm going to go ahead and delete all this and just go back in on my own. I'm going to work on this off camera because it's just tedious little stuff. And then I will come back later with a final look on this, and as we continue add on, because we need to finish this and then just finish this part here. The bottom part, and then after that really it's just a matter of fusing it, getting it ready to go to where the pieces want to print together, how is it going to look and things like that. So yeah, for now I think we're good to go here. It's definitely coming along. I mean, you can easily see it now what we're doing here, and I'll unhide the coins. Brace yourself. Yeah. Thing is going to be a monster. But yeah, that basically it is just a matter of getting everything together, and then getting that looking better. But it kind of gives you an idea of what it's going to be. And it's really shaping up now, and I think it's going to look just dandy, and hopefully it's functional. Also, I need to cut a hole right here. So we'll be, I kind of want to see if there is, I want to build a shield. And I want the shield to be hinged so that the die pushes it out of the way. Kind of, it's a horizontal hinge, so it lifts as the die comes out. And if it can do that, I think that'll be a really cool, neat little feature, and it'll cover that hole when it's not being used, so it doesn't look like there's any hole at all. And then the die comes right out, pushes out of the way. So I think that will be feasible, and that'll be the next thing I'll do after I get done with the chest itself. So the chest, and then the shield. And then we're pretty much done with that, and we can print this off and see what kind of a chaotic thing this is, and hopefully it actually works. But so far, I think this is actually shaping up pretty well. So All right. With that having been said, I want to thank everybody for stopping by today. I want to tell you all I appreciate the views that you come by. Like I said, I don't make a dime off this. I could care less about the money, and quite honestly, I think it's silly, some of this exploitation, but we're not going to get into that. Right now, this is just so people can kind of get an idea of what it takes to build these things. And if they're interested in 3D modeling, by all means, they can follow along and hopefully they learn a couple of things because everybody that works in this stuff learns something new just about every day in this program. It's so complicated. There's so much stuff to learn, and it's difficult to really learn on your own if you're just working on your own. It's better to work in groups and to adapt from learning from other people as well. Um, so hopefully this is beneficial and entertaining. And like I said, if you just want to skip ahead and skip through this thing and see what I've come up at the end, just skip to the end of the video. Pretty simple. All right, until next time, this is Simple Polytricks. Signing off. Be good, be fun, be free. Until next time. Bye. Dum 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 dum. Dum 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 dum. It's not about to start, it's about to end. It's about to end. It's not about to start.